Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of Between the Lines, coming to you from Beirut, Lebanon. I'm Franklin Lamb. Iraq. While attacks and bombings have eased sharply, the political crisis has been accompanied this month by a spike in the attacks on Shiite pilgrims and religious sites, a reminder of the country's darker days of violence. Meanwhile, Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki warned this week that he will call for early elections if the other political parties refuse to negotiate to end a crisis over power sharing that threatens to revive the sectarian tensions of the past few years. Prime Minister Maliki and his followers could actually make some gains in the new elections, given the fragmented nature of the Sunni and the Kurdish-backed parties. Iraq Shia, Sunni, and Kurdish political blocs have been locked in turmoil since the last of the U.S. Troops left in December, with Maliki's critics now seeking a vote of no confidence against the Shiite leader. Iraq's next parliamentary election is not scheduled until 2014, but the current coalition government has been mired in political infighting since it was formed 18 months ago after that inconclusive 2010 vote in the OPEC member country. Well, with us this evening to discuss this and other aspects of the continuing political conflict in Iraq, as people seek security, jobs, and a functioning government there, is Iraqi political analyst Basim abotabekh. Welcome, Mr. abotabekh. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin our discussion, let's have a quick look at the most recent developments in Iraq from our Beirut correspondent.
Political tensions in Iraq have hit Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki particularly hard. Today he called for early elections as rival politicians continue to work for his ouster. Early elections have the potential to resolve the shaky political situation al-Maliki is in, as opposed to the negotiations which have not yet borne fruit. A statement on the Premier's website read, "When the other side refuses to sit at the negotiating table and insists on the policy of provoking successive crises in a way that has caused serious damage to the supreme interest of Iraqi people, the Prime Minister found himself forced to call for early elections." Since the elections and the formation of the government in 2010, no real power sharing has occurred. As a result, al-Maliki has been accused of holding too much power because all three Iraqi security ministries were under his control. Instead of trying to reach an agreement with Nouri al-Maliki, opposing sides have recently focused on bringing him down. Many Iraqi MPs came out in favor of a vote of no confidence against al-Maliki. This effort climaxed last weekend when the Iraqi President Jalal Talabani was asked to call for a vote of no confidence in the parliament. Talabani had stalled the call for a no-confidence vote, saying that Maliki's opponents lacked the necessary number of votes to remove him from power. In an attempt to push forward for a no-confidence vote, they requested he appear before Parliament and then hold the vote. Parliament Speaker Osama Nujafi said on June 21st that Maliki's opponents were expected to ask in the coming days for him to appear before the House in a renewed bid to oust him. The escalation against the Prime Minister has now pushed him to call for early elections. But with the political crisis in Iraq on the rise, it remains to be seen whether the early elections can actually relieve the political tension in the country, or only further drive a wedge between various political parties.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. abotabekh. Last year, you wrote in one of your analyses that the Americans wanted to stay in Iraq in order to influence its development and direction, but also to monitor and counter Iranian and Syrian influence. Sir, is that still your position, and would you share it with us?
Yes, I agree with that. I still have the same opinion. When the American invaded Iraq, that time, 2003, they went first to Afghanistan, but they ran quickly to Iraq. They left Afghanistan to Iraq, which is the main point for Bush administration that time. When they arrived to Iraq, actually they destroy everything except the oil ministry building. That tell you the American come to area to control the energy sources in the region, which is the Iraq, which is, they said in the history and the future, it will be the last barrel come from Iraq soil.
Yes.
Also, the American, they have a bad luck actually to stay and to build, like when they stay in Japan and stay in Korea, they have an agreement with them to stay on bases. But they fail in Iraq. They fail not because Iraq as a strong country, is a situation in Iraq make them to force leave Iraq without any basis. Economy-wise, they suffer and they cut the budget for the defense ministry and for the arm outside the country. And Obama also promised the American to withdraw to have a chance for re-election. These things all happen. Now we are in the area when America left Iraq. Actually, they have a lot of trouble left in Iraq. When they enter in Iraq and they create a government, come with a package. In America, they've been trained Iraqi politics to come in Iraq and rule Iraq, which is a few names. They are already now in the parliament and in the ministry. They have the package, but the Iraqi politicians refuse this package. And they have 25 members, where they have a summit, and they elected 25 members, and each member rule Iraq for 1 month and become 13 Shia and Kurd and Sunni. That time they divide Iraq to sectarian division, you know, to tribe, to things. This make Iraq suffer till now, because they don't know where is going to be, who's going to be, who's the majority, who's the minority. Another country, they have interest, they interfere in Iraq, because Iraq is a rich country, and Iraq a lot of influence that will help the neighboring country. When Iraq weak, they are able to interfere. When Iraq strong, they are finished there. And some country, neighboring country, they want to be a leader for the region, but they fail. They don't have the charisma for it, like Jamal Abdel Nasser, for example, yes, in Egypt. But Iraq is still crawling to have he be back in the international country, be accepted for them, and to see the green light in the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Sticking with your analysis of the American projects, what did they realize from it? You talked about the oil industry. We know there aren't troops there. We know that Muqtada Sadr and others were really tough on not changing the separation, the withdrawal agreement, not giving them any benefit from that. How did they, I mean, the Americans were better off under Saddam, were they not, with respect to oil? How are they doing today with the doing business with Iraq on oil, with oil?
I think the Americans, they don't look at Saddam or al-Maliki.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who is coming to power. Their interest in safe. Their interest, as I just said, they come to control the energy sources in the area.
Yes.
But if you look at the Iraqi politician, their experience is very weak. This is why we are always in crisis. Everybody, I don't really say somebody good or somebody bad. Some people, they are good, but they are not in the right place.
Yes.
But this is why. Some people come from tribes, some people come from religious leaders, people come from opposition party, which is leave Iraq 20, 30 years and come back to lead Iraq. Also, they don't know have the basis for the dialogue. For example,
because living under a despotic regime, you mean they didn't develop the democratic skills?
Also, the experience for the politician. The experience for politician. Iraq been suffering since 2003. We have, after that, we have the law, we have the election, and this is the third election is going to be. But they still, Iraqi people suffering from that because of the politician asked for more benefit from al-Maliki and his government.
Yes.
Because we have two government for al-Maliki. Actually, the election is the main and the major problem for Iraq, the last election in 2010.
Yes.
This is the major problem in Iraq, and this keep moving Iraq, staying backward, not forward.
Why was the 2010 election sort of indeterminative? I mean, why wasn't the result clearer? And what is your opinion about the 2010 election? If it failed the people of Iraq, and how did it fail the country?
Let me, first election before that, people
Yes.
follow as the American divided us, the Iraqi accepted.
Yes.
And they follow religious matter, fatwa from Ayatollah, other things, and pay benefit from other party, which is some people call them they are leader for Sunni and they are leader for Shia. They pay the price for that. Also, in Iraq, when the election finished, they said is a hacker, PC hacker, a lot of country interfere and pay a lot of money to make other party win the election, but they fail. When the figure comes, like al-Maliki group,
Yes.
state of law come with 89 members of parliament. Allawi come 91. This figure, Allawi should be in the should be prime minister, but he failed. He
Yes.
given it a chance 3 months, and he failed to form a government.
Yes.
Actually, we don't say it failed. Maybe they excuse us. But normally they have a package when they go before they enter in the parliament. They have a package. Who's going to be minister? Who's the
Yes.
prime minister? Who's even the chairman of the speaker man on the parliament? This is all got to be agreed before they enter the parliament and vote for them. Allawi failed to do that. The chance being given to Maliki failed to form the government. But also, that moment, Allawi still feel he is the prime minister.
I see.
He entered in the government. He got 9 ministers in the government.
Yeah.
He's already in the government, and in the other side, he's in the opposition party. And actually, we fed up. We need al-Iraqiyalists to do, are you on opposition or are you in the government?
Yes.
You got the duty president of Iraq is from al-Iraqiyalist. The chairman is from al-Iraqiyalist. The deputy of the prime minister is from the al-Iraqiyalist. 9 ministers of al-Maliki government are from al-Iraqiyalist. And now still they want take the confidence from al-Maliki, no confidence from al-Maliki, to have more ministry, which is the defense ministry and the home office ministry. This is actually al-Maliki ruling them at the moment. He is worried from al-Iraqiyalist because their behavior. One man from al-Iraqiyalist, was al-Hashimi, he was accused by under Article 4 of the terrorist law in Iraq.
Yes.
That make al-Maliki worried, and before that other dossier in Iraq, they also worried the security of al-Maliki. He's been informed by his security. There is a lot of dossier, which is al-Maliki hidden this information to keep Iraq stable and established and go forward.
Has Prime Minister Maliki somehow managed to mobilize a majority of the Iraqis, whether Sunnis or Shia, against him? Because as some analysts suggest, he's become too dictatorial and is trying to corner the power. I mean, how do you see the current situation with Maliki? How strong is he? He seems to have a lot of enemies.
I think the enemy created after the election. When they fail, and some groups they used to have a lot of members of parliament.
Yes.
They become weaker and weaker, and they still have, even right today, they still have the benefit of big group, like the security for them. Lots of bodyguard for them. The government pay the bill for them. They still have it right now. Now, when the government moving forward and ask